guys, welcome back to Angel Angela, and on this topic I wanted to talk to you guys about how it's better to be by yourself than be with a narcissist. So one thing about, it's better to be by yourself is that you'll hear that from a lot of people. If you guys have came across anyone telling you it's better to be by yourself than being with a narcissist, do not let that, go over your head. A lot of people, even if you see that they're in a toxic relationship, they'll even tell you, and you'll think to yourself, like, you're in a toxic relationship, and sometimes you'll even say, expose what other people have told you to the narcissist, and the narcissist will try to make it seem like those people aren't happy, that they're tortured, right? And in reality, they're being tortured, and the narcissist knows that you still have a chance. And this is why, it's very important not to overlook that. It's literally like the Get Out movie, and they're just like, they can't help themselves, but they're like, hey, I'm warning you, you don't want to be like me. You don't want to go through these things. Appreciate what you have, even if it's not a lot or you don't think it's a lot, because some people would rather be in your position. They're dealing with, different types of battles, and sometimes we don't realize how it's better to be alone, especially if you don't have ties, because you're trapped in the maze, you're trapped into the narcissist spell. If you're angry or you're feeling resentment or you're feeling betrayed or revengeful, you want this person to get their karma. Anything that they sow, they reap. So anytime someone does something, even yourself, there's consequences to those actions. There's consequences to knowing and surrounding yourself around bad people. And in this game of life, you literally only get one chance. Everything is one chance. You only get one. You can't just keep doing things over, and that's part of it. The narcissist knows that. This is why they're going from supply to supply, and they don't really care about anyone, because they're trapped in that maze, so they feel like you still have enough energy. I remember times like it wasn't even the narcissist doing anything. It was just bad things happening around this person. And I remember I became very intuitive, because I came to this point where when the narcissist discarded me, and it wasn't just like a discard where they, come back right away. It was, I think all of us have been through that, where they finally discard you and they leave for like the longest that they've ever left you for, because they found someone new. And in that time, I came into like this awakening where I finally understood what happened to me. I already knew the information. I already knew that other people had experienced these things, and they were trying to tell me for my own good. They were telling me, it's better to be by yourself. It's better to be by yourself. And I remember being by myself felt like torture. I literally felt like I was being tortured because I had no closure. And, I cried, I screamed, I pleaded. And this person, the more I pleaded, the more they disrespected me. And I was just in shock, like total shock, like what just happened, because everything was just good, right? And the things that we had experienced were minor things. So when you get that final discard and you knew you should have left this person, or you had this intuitive feeling that they were doing things, and you noticed that the moment that they started to do things, it's like all of this bad energy just starts coming out of nowhere. I remember, leaving the store, and when I get to my car, my window was broken. And I remember thinking, like, who broke my window? And like, I'm looking in my car to see if they stole anything, and no one stole anything. And looking back now, I'm like, was someone following me? Like, was someone connected to the narcissist following me? Because it was just so much bad energy around that person, because no matter how good you are to them or what you do, the narcissist has no limit of how much they would, will torture you and betray you. They'll drive you to the point like of insanity where you will literally crack. Like you will crack as a human being because someone has been playing with your mind. So when you go through that stage, you're going to look at relationships, you're going to look at people differently, you're going to be afraid of people. It's kind of like going into the world and realizing like, wow, there's really evil people there everywhere. Like you don't know who you're bumping into. You become so afraid. And you realize that, even in situations where someone might do something to you that to you might be minor, you realize that not every action needs a reaction, and that you don't always have to explain yourself to people about what they did because they know what they do. Like, there's no point on explaining how they made you feel when they'll do it again. So, when you're by yourself, it literally, like I said, it feels unbearable. You'll start, with me, I started having bad dreams. I thought that, what was crazy about my dreams was that I was being allowed to see what the narcissist was doing, who they were with, how that person looked. I was having like a lot of bad dreams. I had a dream that, they were going to come back for me, just all type of things. And then you get to that point where you're thinking, is this person going to come out of nowhere? Like, are they going to jump behind the bush? Like, you become so paranoid because you're in this relationship, or you were in this relationship where this person was basically treating you as property, like they owned you. It's almost like you willingly became this person's slave in a way. And you're afraid, you become afraid, then you become so afraid that you're tired of the nightmares. So you're trying to forget about the nightmares. You're trying to get over what happened to you. And you're trying to, get out of that state of mind where you can't even sleep because you feel tortured by your thoughts and what this person did and how they betrayed you, and just the dynamic of how they kept this lie going for so long, right? And when you snap and you realize that, you try to put those thoughts behind you, you try to almost dead the situation. So I would think to myself, like, what if the narcissist wasn't alive? What if, because I felt like if this person's still alive, I don't think I'll be able to live because I can't believe they did this to me. Like, what they did to me wasn't something small. It wasn't something like, oh, you just, lost a job. Now you have to, whatever. It was like physical, everything that you can think about. And just thinking of those situations where like my car window would be broken. And I would think to myself, like, wait, someone must have been following me around. Someone must have been, whoever their new supply must have thought that I was the new supply or something, and they're coming after me when really they're the new supply. So I would think about those things. And what I realized when I did take that person back, and, after having that quiet time to myself where I felt like I was having a revelation and everything finally made sense. And it seemed like every time I went out into the world, I would get subliminals from God. Like, God was guiding me. God was like showing things to me. God was speaking to me in my mind, telling me, like, helping me learn from that experience. So God was teaching me every single moment that I was with them. So sometimes when you're in your mind and you're going through things, sometimes it's not a bad thing. So I want you guys to understand that, because you're having a conversation with God, you're having a conversation with yourself. And when you ask questions to yourself knows the answer. So, when things would happen or I would come across certain people, I knew that I didn't come across them for a reason. So I would, just study that person's energy that was around me that came out of nowhere. If they were a bad person, I could feel that they were a bad person. If they said something to me that struck out to me, or if they didn't even say anything, if they were trying to lie to me and I could feel their bad energy, sometimes I would have like a thought in my head, like that consciousness of God telling me to tell that person something, because maybe, they don't have faith and they think that they're not going to get caught for what they're doing to people, and that will help them reconsider, even if they don't change their ways. That message could have came across for them to reconsider what they were getting ready to do to someone, maybe. And maybe that person was saved, they were meant to be saved. And even if that person doesn't change, right? Or if they go to someone else because they need to start the same cycle again, they're trying to get energy. So they go and get energy from someone again. This is why if you're alone and this person is removed out of your life, you don't even know, that could be a blessing itself, because the next person might experience something that you didn't experience yourself. And when I realized just how these type of people are and how God works and how, the universe, whatever you want to call it, because I do believe there's something, higher than me, or maybe, a part of me is creating this. But I remember that when I took this person back after I had that moment of silence in my life, I finally had that moment of silence, that everyone is literally telling you, you need to be alone. It's better to be alone. It's better to be alone. I finally realized my boundaries and a lot of things, right? And there were so many things. Let me tell you why I did take that person back at that time, even after my revelation. Because during my revelation, I was having many dreams of things that they did to me behind my back. Just so many things that my mind was processing. There were things that he never told me that all of a sudden I knew. Like, I just knew things. There was no way that he would know that I would know, because I never saw these things with my own eyes. But I guess I felt like, when you're questioning your faith and you're like, let me give it another chance, but not necessarily because I can't let go of the narcissist, but I believe I'm strong enough to go back with them this one time, because I need to know the truth. I need to see it with my own eyes. I need to know that everything I've been meditating about was for a reason. And them coming back, because you have that feeling that they're never going to stop, right? So I knew I had to face that fear of, wanting to be with them, or that fear of wanting them to get their karma or revenge, or I had to put closure to that situation in my own way, because I did feel like I was strong enough, because I actually knew who I was at this point. So I knew who I was. I knew how this dark energy tries to get through people to get to me. So I start understanding that even I can be a victim of this energy, and that's why I shouldn't judge others, because we're all battling this type of energy. That's why it's better to be alone. But you don't know why people say that, because when they finally leave their abusers and they realize that these people have been gone for years, they realize, wow, I feel much better than before. And that was the realization I got, where I looked at the people older than me and I realized how happy they were. They didn't care anymore. They didn't care about their appearance, what people thought about them. They didn't let things affect them the same way. And I thought to myself, when I really started to think about everyone around me and, people that I didn't even really all the way know, I realized that they all had a story. They all came across these type of people. And at the end of the day, they all said the same thing. It's better to be alone. And I didn't understand why. And it's because narcissists take so much of your energy trying to destroy you. And when this person did come back, how I tell you guys, that energy, that godly energy, that's looking out for us, that knows our heart. it's constantly giving us signs. Bad things will start happening or good things start happening. And when good things start happening, you have to take advantage of it, because that's when the narcissist will come back. They see anything good in your life, they come back. They see, they can break up with you, and 2 weeks later they see that you're doing something, and they'll be back, months later, years later even. And they'll act like nothing happened, like no time has passed by. And, that's why a lot of times narcissists, they try to put you in that point, they try to push you to that point when you're by yourself, so that they can keep coming back. They understand that there's a lot of people. They understand that there's a lot of people who are broken because of people like them. They don't care. They feel like, oh, if you've been broken by someone, that means that I'm allowed to come to you and use you. Or if you look like, just by your appearance, they can tell right away. They're looking at you like you were influenced to do certain things because someone else influenced you and they didn't finish their job. So I'm going to work in the spirit of that person and try to hurt you. That's how quickly they're just able to tell right away sometimes. Sometimes you don't even have to say too much. They're looking at your appearance, and that's where they mess up at, because you can't tell. A lot of us, yeah, we have our story, but some of us have woken up. So when narcissists try to manipulate us through using us by how we look or what their perception of us, right? When they try to perceive us as this character based on how we look, it's like looking at a video game. You're looking at different people and you're making your own judgment of them. But if you don't know that person's not in that video game and they're alive, you're making a mistake, because now once that person knows, and that person is like, I'm returning all this negative energy back onto you, that's where the narcissist starts to panic. That's why these people will even come back just to be your friend. And they're trying to get off on your energy, because as long as they can keep you sleeping, even if you think that, you guys have moved on and you guys have forgave each other, a lot of times narcissists are still even plotting on you in that moment. So, that's why you'll never be truly free around them, and bad things will keep happening. And you will see, even when you start hanging around someone, it's like all these incidents that you'll think to yourself, like, is this coincidence? No, I think this was supposed to happen. It's like too many situations where you're going to think, is this coincidence? And when I took this person back, I literally asked them, I pretended with them with a lot of scenarios that I remembered. I pretended with them, and I just started to act like I was into certain things that I knew secretly they might have been into and they never told me. So I pretended to be into different things. I lied about certain things, and I got so much information out of the narcissist. He just started coming and telling me things, and I realized, wow, you were right. But at the time, I didn't even question those type of things. That's the crazy part. When I was with them, I didn't question them, but it was like afterwards, I had all of these answers based on their character that I knew, secrets that most people probably wouldn't figure out, about the narcissist, that certain people probably wouldn't even know. I was able to figure all of those things out. And that's when I knew there was this higher power. Not only that, but it's like while I was with them, it's like everything that I wanted to know within that short period of time, everything was brought into light where I could actually physically see it. And, if you guys check out, my video on Ezekiel, or that dark spirit that the narcissist has, I saw it with my own eyes. And I realized right there and then, like, it's over. I see through them. That energy knows I know, and there's no going back, and that's why it's better to be alone, because you don't know where that energy, where it's going to come from next. This is why, as crazy as some people seem, they're not crazy. They know their boundaries. They know to stay away from people. They'll tell you they don't want strangers in their house. They'll tell you things because they know. So then I knew that battle that I was going through, it wasn't something that was made up. It wasn't just an illusion. It wasn't just an illusion. It wasn't just some fantasy of mine, because I realized, wow, how would you know all of these things? Wow, why is it that while you're seeing these things being exposed to you, there's all of these other signs where it's almost like God is telling you, okay, I let you see, now it's time to get out. Remember, you said you were going to get out once I helped you see? And trust me, if you don't get out, it's going to get worse. And I knew it was time to get out and be by myself and continue my journey by myself. That's when I knew for sure, because it was as if the longer you're around them, you start getting sucked into their spell. And when you get sucked into your spell, you can't look at your reflection anymore. And then it's harder to go back to who you used to be. That's why it's better to be by yourself. You surround yourself with people who talk bad about other people who are making, sick, disgusting jokes, who are judging people. You go around people that are speaking negative, that are always going through some type of drama. They're always going back to the narcissist, and you understand because you were that person at one time, and you realize, that no one was able to save you from that situation. Although, yeah, it's good to talk to people, right? But you realize that even talking to people, it changed their perception about you. Whether you want to admit it or not, as much as they care about you, it changed their perception of you. And when you realize that the only person that can truly understand you is yourself, you realize, wow, this is why it's so important to be by yourself. Because if you're not thinking about your own life, your future, what are the things that are stopping you from growing? If you don't think about these things, then you will always be controlled by someone. You will always be controlled. You will always be in the middle of something. Something will always be going on around you. And at least if something happens while you're on your journey on your own, if something at least happens, that you're able to take full responsibility of those things without feeling guilty, without feeling that guilt. So, we're not perfect beings. Sometimes we slip. And I think when we slip, that's when everybody points the finger at us. And, that's where the hate is spread. But I can truly appreciate those type of people that, that hate, it doesn't remain in their hearts. Narcissists, they don't stop. That's why you have to know the power of, love, the power of forgiving, because narcissists, they won't quit. They won't quit torturing you. Another thing I noticed about being alone is that it made me realize who were the important people in my life. And because I had experienced death while being with the narcissist, while having my miscarriage, I realized I was able to witness life, right? I was able to realize the meaning of life. And I ended up having so much respect for mothers and people that, deal with narcissists, and they're stuck with these type of people for forever because, of a choice that they made by being with this person, not even understanding what narcissism was, how crazy, how evil it can be, right? So at that time when all of these things were happening to me, I realized, wow, the importance of life. Because I experienced life and death all at once. And that's really what made me wake up more than ever. That's really where I had I already thought, I had an awakening, and I already thought I had a lot of information. But that's when I woke up into a different dimension, really, because I experienced life. And I think that's what mothers experience. That's why they have this connection, this love to their child, right? Even narcissist mothers, they have an attachment to a certain child, a certain type of love. And if that person that you care about so much, your offspring, was to die, it will be a different type of pain, because you created this person. You will be experience death, the real meaning of death. This is why when people die, it's mothers, brothers, sisters, everyone, even the people that hated you came around, right? Even the people that didn't like you came around to be fake. But you realize what I experienced all of that. When I went through that, nobody was there for me. Nobody wanted to help me. I had to bury my own baby, like by myself in a cemetery. And I'm thinking to myself, like, wow, this is life. This is death. Wow. Like, I finally understood what death really was, right? And how you can be gone the next day, because this happens every single day. And I always knew that. You always know that. You even think to yourself sometimes, I want to die. I can't believe someone did this to me. But when you're put in that situation, I remember being with that narcissist for all those years. I wanted to die, especially after that happened to me. I wanted to literally die. And then I realized why it was so important to live. That's when it finally hit me. And I was like, people need you. People need you, and they don't even realize they need you. That's crazy. And they don't even appreciate it sometimes. But you know that certain people do actually need you in some way, even if it's something small. And because you're protecting them, especially if they're not aware. And I realized, wow, like, anyone who's ever done something for me, I realized how even the smallest thing they did for me, it was something huge. It was something huge in my life. I realized you can't take those things for granted. And I realized how the narcissists, they take people for granted. They took you for granted. They take people for granted. Everyone. They use. You can't take it to where you're going, because you never know when your day's coming. And they're living like they don't care. They're living like that day isn't it can't be their last day, and even if that's the case, they're at the point where they feel like, I'm dead anyway. I got nothing to lose. But hurt people. I'm dead inside. And it's a very scary place to be. But in a way, it's like you understand why the narcissist is that way. But then you understand, too, that they'll never stop. And that's why it's better to be by yourself, because they will not stop. They will apologize. They will cry. They will plead. They will leave notes in your car. They will send you flowers. They'll do anything just to steal your light, just to steal your energy, just so that you can wish that you were dead while you're still alive. They want you to be dead while you're still alive. And that's what I realized. I was like, I woke up, and if I don't stay awake, they might just kill me. These people, these gang stalkers, they might just end me. And they try to all the time. I still have people that, to this day, I have family that still tries to do little things to bother me, and it doesn't bother me, because now I understand that if I give it energy, that's all they need. That's why it's better to be alone. They want you to be part of their group so you can gossip and you can do all these things and you can stay in bondage. That's what they want. Once you don't want to do those things and live the way they live, they're trying to destroy you. And these will be people from church. These will be people that you thought were good people. And then you realize, wow, so you mean to tell me that most of the good people are actually bad and the people that are portrayed to be bad are good? And they're fighting their own battle because they're fighting demons, because they understand there's demons everywhere. And these people that are good, they're comfortable with their demons. That's why they don't feel bad. And sometimes you'll come across people who are good people, and you don't even realize that they're good people because you've been around bad people for so long. You don't realize that some of these people are good people trying to survive. You don't even realize that there's this game going on and people are trying to survive. these type of people. This is why it's better to be alone. I started to realize the importance of taking care of myself and just taking care of my body, not putting chemicals and paint everywhere, and just knowing when to do those things, not having to feel like pressured by society. You know, I realized that because when you're trapped into that maze and you're afraid to be alone, you start to also look at what other people have, and that might start affecting the way you think. It'll start making you think about what the narcissist should have done for you, or what they, you start thinking all these crazy things that's negative energy. So you become more aware of who you are, your presence in the present moment, just simply being able to create. Like, you can't do anything in life without having a conversation with yourself, and so that you can be able to create, whatever it is, create a better life for yourself. So you have to get to a place where you can't be affected by anything. When I look at certain things now, I look at it as art. When I see people now, I realize, like, wow, you're really playing this character. Like, I really look up to you. Like you were able to say, I know you have a story. You're not telling your story, but I know you have a story. And I look up to people that are like that. I look up to people that were able to go through this type of bondage and get out. And in order to do that, they had to be by themselves. They had to be by themselves. That's why these people have stories. And that's why I share my story. That's why I share my story, because a lot of people don't share their stories. They feel like, people are going to turn it into something negative, or start pointing out their flaws, or start pointing out their past. Everyone is able to go into that maze quickly, as perfect as you might think you are. That's why it's very important to watch who you're surrounding yourself with. Watch who you look up to. Watch what you listen to. You literally have everything goes into your subconscious mind, and it will really affect you, if you don't pay attention to it. So, being alone, paying attention to the signs, if you see that you're somewhere and someone gets into a fight, remove yourself. There's bad energy there. You have to remove yourself. You have to, when you think about something and you do the opposite, and then you're like, oh, why did I do the opposite? When you think about something before even doing it, think about what you just thought about. Don't just go and do it, even though your inner self told you not to do it, or your inner self told you what to do. And you were like, well, I'm going to still try it out. It's not a big deal. And then you're disappointed. And it's because your inner self already knew the answer. So a lot of times we don't think and then do. We just think and then do. We don't think and then think again and then do, So it's something that you learn over time while you're alone. So sometimes it's healthy to be alone, So I hope that this message, you guys, was helpful for you guys. I hope that my stories, my journey, the things I've went through can also help you for your healing, for your understanding on why it's better to be alone. Just to share with you guys the type of energy these type of people carry with them. It's dangerous for you, and it's dangerous for your health. These things will manifest in many different ways if it's not, around you or in your community or spiritually or physically. It will come out one way or another. So, you guys, I'm sending you guys lots of love, peace, light. If you guys are actually new to this channel, do not forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. Share if you guys care. And I will talk to you guys on the next one. Love you guys. Bye.